You could call it, as Tom Lee did with me on the stage on the beach earlier this morning, the Trump put. You know, Malcolm, I want to know how we're supposed to react to that. You know, some of the policy making and the decision making within Washington has caused at times over the last year severe sell-offs in the market. OK, we've all witnessed that. But in each occasion, there's been a pretty market snapback of a V-shaped rebound, because the belief is that there's only some degree of tolerance inside the White House for a declining stock market of any magnitude. And maybe we're learning that over the last 20 hours, as I suggested. How, as an investing class, are we supposed to deal with that? Trying to, at the worst levels of this market, at many times since April, realize that it might actually be an opportunity to buy.
I think the reaction that the market is having this week so far, the whipsaw nature of it, is showing that we've been conditioned, basically, that just what you said, the president will gauge just how much tolerance the market has for whatever new policy action he's decided to take, and then temper his response or direction he might go from that based on what the markets give. I think in this case, we might be acting a little too complacent right now as investors, simply because the president today alone has already shown that he's looking in two different directions to gauge which stance he wants to take versus Iran. We also heard rhetoric coming out of Iran earlier today that could shift again the way that he decides he wants to respond and how long we want this hot war to go. And so I think investors might want to actually consider that this could go on a little bit longer than we've already assumed.
But why on that
Yeah.
are professional traders in the energy markets, when you look at futures on energy markets, 12 months out, they're 70.
Yep.
Summertime, they're 87. Why are they complacent? They know more than I think most of us know about that situation.
But I think the question Scott was asking me was more about the individual investor, right? This is more the investor class watching this and watching what's happening in oil that frankly might not even understand what oil futures are. An April contract versus a December contract. They're watching their 401k balance and they're asking the question of, should I be taking action right this moment? And my direct response to that is, I think we better wait and see.
Well, I mean, they're watching the price of gasoline as well, which goes towards a lack of tolerance in Washington for a tremendous spike in gas prices, and as well as a larger decline in the stock market. But let's not be naive to the fact that we still have largely unknown trajectory ahead for the price of oil, at least in the near term. We're not talking over the long term, but in the near term, you still have what the Wall Street Journal referred to yesterday as the most severe energy crisis since the 70s. That still exists as we wake up today, even with the reversal of yesterday and the commentary from the president.
Yeah. This is par for the course. I mean, not necessarily how we got here, but it is year 2 of a presidential cycle. There was going to be expected to be some volatility, and this is where it is. And, you know, I coming into the year, I said, we're going to have some volatility. We're going to have a sell-off at some point. We're not going to know, you know, what it is leading up to it, and it's likely going to be a surprise when it happens. And this is where we are right now. I think we come out of this fairly well in the near term, and then there could be some larger impact later this maybe around June or so. But here, I mean, going into this event, going into this war that drove oil prices up, we've already seen a tired consumer. We've had private credit fears. We've had slowing growth and firming inflation. Now it's more stagflationary. So a lot of this is getting flushed out, but we've seen corrections across different sectors. And I think it's an opportunity to think that in the near term, we're going to respond and see the market move higher.